This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Portian Bakery. If you're located in the Portian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Portian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great. You know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself, definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, so this will be a bit of a shorter one because I have to do a hard stop at 10:30. So we'll actually keep it within or just under the hour. So that's great. Compared to our last ones are like bumping towards 2 hours. But I want to start off with the TTC. Have you seen that? The TTC stabbing incident?
Yeah, I saw the video. Yeah.
Okay. Did you see the one I posted?
I think I saw that.
Did you watch that
yesterday? No, I saw on the same video, right? Yeah.
No, it's a different video.
No, what do you mean?
Not the one that's circulating. So the one that's circulating around. All right, for context, because people were going back and forth on the comments, and they're kind of like, I don't know what the incident is. I'm like, yeah, it's a Toronto incident, so that's why you don't know. But in Toronto, it was actually at the stop that I usually take, like when I was going to the office. That was the stop I would get off at. So it's really close to me. And basically, two people got into an argument, and then one dude stabbed the other dude. So I was like, just like everyone thought, like, oh, like there's a random stabber, because you don't actually know the context, right? You're hearing the news and like, oh, there's like a stabbing situation, like, oh, that's gnarly. And then I saw some videos, and all the videos were more like scuffle video, like not scuffle. They were kind of like it's audience perspective, like freaking out. Oh my god! And then I saw this recent video from this martial artist I follow. I guess he lives in Toronto as well, or like in Canada somewhere. And he posted the start of the thing, and then his point of view. I didn't actually watch his full video until like I had already posted. I was like, oh wait, he's talking on this. So like I listened to it, and we actually had the same point of view. Similar, but not fully the same. Basically what happened was, you see in the video that the taller dude in white, not the guy that was doing the stabbing, the guy that got stabbed, he was like in the face of the other guy, and then he threw a punch at that guy. And then the other guy was like charging at him. Then he kicked him. He punched him again. The dude the stabber, ended up like losing. So he pulled out a knife and stabbed him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it made me think like, and then the news also turned out that the stabber had like a hearing the next day. So obviously, you're like, okay, he must be like in a high stress situation. You're on the TTC. It's been dangerous recently. Some dude's getting in your face. Then all of a sudden he swings, hits you twice, front kicks you, but you have a knife in your pocket. What are you going to do? So like my perspective is, I probably would have done the exact same thing as that guy. I don't carry a knife, but like I train martial arts. So if we got into that altercation, and then everyone's like, oh, well, he didn't have to chase him down and continue stabbing him. I'm like, okay, but if I was in that situation and I took that guy down, wouldn't I want to hammer fist him in the face for being pissed off that, like, you actually made me do this? You know what I mean? Like, carrying around a knife is like, you don't know how to fight, so you're relying on this weapon, okay? Wouldn't you use the weapon if you needed to use the weapon? It's not like he just ran on the TTC stabbing people. You know what I'm saying? So I think our narrative is a little backwards on who the victim is here. Because everyone's like, oh, the dude got stabbed. He's like the victim, whatever. But you watch the video and I'm like, no, he started it, And I know people too personally who, these are like females. And they're like, actually one person asked me, should I carry around a knife? I was like, there's a higher likelihood of you stabbing yourself than you actually using that knife to protect yourself.
Mhm.
So don't carry around a knife, right? But this guy actually did it. He brought around a knife, and then he used it for protection in that situation. So like, who's in the wrong here? I want your perspective on that. I thought we'd start off with a discussion about that.
Yeah. Well, it's the video starts off at that point, right? We don't know what was there before. We don't know what was there.
Yeah, but
right.
For sure. But if you're just yelling at somebody, okay, you didn't have to escalate to a punch. Like the dude in white, if you watch the video, he threw with like malice intent.
No. I'm just saying like the video starts at that point, right? So we don't know what was before, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So like, but what could it have been?
So this reminds me.
I'm going to stab you, bro. Like, you know, like what?
No, this reminds me. This reminds me of like the same kinds of videos that were happening with. Was it that Kyle Rittenhouse guy, the one that did like the shooting?
I don't know. Oh, I don't know that story.
Yeah, there was a story in the U.S. where like when the riots were happening, right? And he was like,
"Oh, the dude with AK."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it ended up becoming, even though like he shot those guys, then as like whatever videos were showing up, where like it was like he was shooting at the rioters. Well, eventually you found out that no, he was protecting himself as self-defense.
Okay, yeah, totally. Okay, yeah, so it's something like that, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, he got off and all that. I don't know, like, the specifics of that case, and I didn't, like, watch any
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, through the court case, it kind of came out the whole story, right? Well, prior to it...
And then that's why he got off.
Yeah, because prior to it was, like all these videos that were, like, either... like misrepresentation or like people just reading the headlines,
right.
And that's kind of like how it spread, right? So where it's like
for sure
is this a self-defense case from the guy that did the knifing, right? Versus like that's what I'm saying, what was the altercation before? Because all of his videos, or the Kyle Rittenhouse one, was like him shooting at them, but then the videos came out later where it's like, no, he was running away from them. And then when he got cornered, he had to shoot at them.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, totally. I could see that as self-defense as well. But the real issue here is like, just like the Kyle, it's like you're painting the worst picture of this person and you can't get that out of your head.
Exactly.
Like you can never go back as
like,
you know what I'm saying? Like this guy will forever be known as the guy who stabbed the other guy.
Yeah.
You know, because the video is really bad. Like the one that I saw in the beginning that's circulating on the news is like you see a little scuffling happen. Like the videographer is like, "Oh, I can't really see," and all of a sudden, help! He's running away, right? And I'm like, "Oh, that's crazy, bro! Like this guy's chasing you down. Like if I was in this situation too, like that'd be terrible." But then you see the other video that I just posted, that GN Funker Tactical, shout out to you. He did a right, left, front kick, and then he got stabbed. And then he ran away and was like, help. I'm like, bro, why are you gonna ask for help? You threw a 1-2 and a front kick. You know, you're also bigger than the other dude. You know? So it's like, you know what it really reminded me of? When one of our friends from before, I mean, like he passed away, so like this, you can't even get in trouble for this. But he was like, yeah, I carry around a knife, and I was like, dude, why are you carrying around a knife? Or maybe he said a gun. It was something crazy, and I was like, dude, why are you doing that? And he's like, I'm a small little Asian dude, surrounded by so many white gang members where I live. Like, it's not fair. I need this thing, you know? And I was like, I never thought of it that way. But now we're actually watching an incident play out where it's like, oh, this literally is the case. That guy was bigger than you. He started the fight, and you just brought it to a whole nother level. You know, I actually feel like, I hope this guy doesn't like chase me down or like beat me up or something. But the dude who's running away, it's like the fact that you're running away screaming for your life is like, don't start what you can't finish. You know what I mean? Like you started that thing. This is why every martial artist knows you don't get into a street fight, because it even if you know all the martial arts in the world, this guy can, let's say we're grappling on the ground. You know what I'm saying? And like, oh, I know jujitsu, whatever. I don't see this guy reach in his pocket, stab me. I'm like, oh, well, game over. You can't account for everything. So we just it's best to just only use that in like a self-defense situation, you know?
Yeah.
So like, so who's in the wrong here, you know?
Yeah. Well, the courts will.
I feel like
that's their dealing. That's the job of the courts, right?
for sure. But it's also mass media. Like even if the court, just like Kyle, right? He still got so much hate post. Like I remember him as the AK dude who's like pro Trump or whatever, like you know,
Sure.
the MAGA guy.
Well, yeah,
but
because
like that might not
that's
even
what
be the
happened.
case.
Yeah, that happened
Because
because
that's the narrative that got pushed, right?
That happened because everybody else on the left was attacking him for being
Totally,
racist.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So like, it's not you're like, oh, it's the courts, and I'm like, yeah, totally, it's the courts. But at the same time, it's also mass media's like obligation to not paint a terrible narrative. Because I was watching the news and like they're just showing the picture of the guy and they're like, we need to find this guy. Okay, he just got arrested, and you're like, and then all the people are like, I feel so much safer now that he got arrested. And I'm like, nobody's talking about the guy who started the fight. Like, I wouldn't want to get into a situation where this guy's gonna come to me on the subway like arguing and then throw a punch, you know? But nobody worries about the instigator. They worry about the knife guy.
Well, it depends
but the knife guy's more like all of us.
Right. Depends on the video that you watched, right? So if you watched,
no, but this like I hadn't seen this video until like literally yesterday. Because like prior to this, it was always that one guy's video of like you can't see how it started, and then you just see this dude running away, like for his life.
It seemed like the same video though, the one that I had seen. Like he was backing away as he was filming.
No. This is a different video because this one starts with the fight.
Yeah, but he was filming it as he was backing away.
Maybe, I'm not sure. I all I saw for the main one was like you don't see the beginning and then you just see the dude run. There's like a scuffle and then people are like, oh, why?
There's probably different videos, yeah. But I saw the other one too. Like they were all. I guess the different angles were being put up, right?
But where like these two people were like arguing at first,
and
then you saw the punch thrown. Oh, so you saw that video?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you didn't see the mainstream media one? That's the one that I saw at first until I
didn't see the mainstream. I don't know what the mainstream media one was.
Okay, well, it'd be hard to.
It's hard to, because there's so many videos. Right? Yeah.
But it's just the one that's been circulating all over like CP24 on their account. It's like warning, graphic scenes, and then it would like pop up. But they like totally disregarded the beginning of that. When I saw it, that's why I was like, that's why I was scared at first. Like, oh, dude, there's a stabber. You know what's going on? But anyways, so all things considered.
It depends on who gave them the video, right? So it's like if someone gave them the video, because they buy these videos off of these people, right?
Oh, interesting.
They would have to. I guess it's like it depends on the person. Like it's someone random individual's video, right? Yeah. So it's like if he wanted more, like
money than the other one,
it's like, oh, this looks more scarier than, or like, you know what I mean? Like just having
can't you just pull that off of? Like, can't you just pull that off of social media?
You can if you can get it, but you have to. There's also like with what do you call, like mainstream media or like legitimate media. I would say like you'd need to get permission or like you have to make sure that it's actually real, right?
Right. Okay.
You can't just post videos because then retract. That doesn't look good.
Yeah. Okay. Fair point. Okay, last thing about this, because we're a bit of a time crunch here. What can you put all right, I posted this first on all channels, and then I took it down on Facebook because I was like, there are certain people that will not cannot put themselves in the shoes of the other individual, the stabber. Because in my post, I was like, if I was in that person's shoes, I would have probably done the exact same thing. Like, if I didn't know martial arts, I was getting pieced up, I have a knife, I'm going to use it, right? And I was like, if you're honest with yourself, wouldn't you do the exact same thing, right?
I think
that was my point.
Right. I've seen... okay, you finish your point.
But I took it down there because I was like, oh, a lot of people on there, like they're kind of old. They only watch the news. Like it's more of like a
Yeah, I get what you're
old
saying.
person
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
platform.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
kept it on like on Instagram because like I more martial artists follow me on Instagram, and like this one guy was like, great assessment, you know, and I was like, yeah, because freaking like we all, if you can objectively put yourself in that person's shoes, a bigger dude beating you up, and you brought something for protection, whether it be keys, pepper spray, whatever, you're not going to use it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like let's be real with ourselves. So I can't fault that individual for what he did. It looks crazy, you know, like the dude running away. If you only saw the dude running away screaming for help, you're like, oh, this is crazy. But then if you understand the full context, you're kind of looking at the dude who's running away screaming for help, like you started it, bro. Like you just couldn't finish it.
Yeah. I wonder what because there's two cases where it's like he could scream and run away, but then chasing him was a different, and it becomes different.
No,
right?
Right, for sure. That's what somebody else commented, and I was like, yes, but we also have to think about frame of mind because this dude, the stabber, he had a court case the next day. I didn't know this. Saw it on CB24. They're like, oh, bail. Now the issue is, should we let people out on bail? That's what they're trying to make it on news because it's like, well, he was upset. He had a court case. Should we let him out? You know, should we let other people out because they could all do? I'm like, what? Like, think about your frame of reference. You're already angry. We don't know why you're going to a court case. Why are you carrying a knife with you? Like, I'd be hella cheesed too, all things considered, to the point that like, if you had started, or not even run away. If, let's say I had no weapon and I took somebody down, I got into side control, and then I was like controlling them on the ground. You don't think I would throw a couple elbows into his face for being upset? It's the exact same thing. The dude's running away. He's chasing him with a knife. I'm on top, fully controlling you. I 100% would throw some strikes, like whether to the body,
Sure,
break your nose, maybe.
Mhm.
Like, because I'd be like, really, you made me do this, you know? So like the running away piece, it's like I can understand that part too. Like, why'd you chase him? I get it. You were pissed. I'd be pissed too.
Yeah.
Because at first you're like, bro, what? You started this. You know what I mean? Because there's other UFC fighters too. There's this I forgot who the person was, but like he was in a bar, and Joe Schilling, he was in a bar. And it was a crazy case. So like there's this drunk guy at a bar. Joe Schilling was like, hey, excuse me, I'm like trying to go back. And then the dude turned around and like he postured, like he went like this, you know? And then Joe Schilling knocked him out with a punch. But it was reflexive. It was like, what? Boom, you know? It's like, and then people were like, oh, he took it too far, blah, blah. It's like, no, you literally trained for this though. If you see a flinch come, like if you like see a piece of motion, you don't know what that guy's gonna do. You have to knock him out, right? It's the same scenario. It's like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why'd you chase him down? It's like, think about my frame of mind here.
Mm-hmm.
You know? What do you think?
That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know the whole picture, right? What was before
No,
the
no,
video,
but
right?
Yeah, but
What? Because
okay,
you're saying
for sure.
that he's saying that he was already
No,
in a
but
bad
it's
frame of
words,
mind,
though.
right? Yeah.
So you're
So
saying
what was
what
was his words against? What was his frame of mind? The guy or the tall guy's frame of mind in order to punch him. Let's
right?
say.
Okay, for sure. But we all know that it's just words until it's not words. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm always polite in public.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, because it's like, even if somebody bumps me, it's like, okay, but do you know where this could lead? If I get upset that you bump me and now we're face to face, who's going to throw the first punch? Right? So it's like, I get what you're saying. Like, what's your frame of mind? But you didn't have to push it that far.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Like
I don't know the story,
okay,
right?
yeah.
I don't know his story.
Right. But okay. But the point is that it's words until it's not words.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, you guys are like going back and forth, like, hey man, I could beat you up. All right, whatever. Oh, prove it. Blah 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 blah. Throws a punch. Okay, so you actually brought it to there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, those are two different scenarios. Nothing you could say to another person. It's just like, it's like you're honking in traffic. It's like, but you got out and started the fight. You know what I mean? Well, he was honking at me, but you got out and started the fight. So like, I don't think words is an issue here. I don't think. I think.
Well, we don't know, but yeah. We don't know if it was only words, right? What I'm saying is like, what was before the video? Before,
what?
Yeah, we don't know where
So
it
you think
started.
he showed him a knife? So you think he showed him a knife?
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't know what happened before the video. That's what I'm saying.
But
did an instant?
I know. I understand.
Did something happen? Like, let's just say it was like the stop before. I don't know. Did they when they got into the train? Did something happen between the two? Did they bump into each other? You know what I mean? It's like what we don't know what happened.
Those are two different things, though. But it doesn't matter if it. Right. It doesn't matter what those things were because they weren't physical assaults until it became a physical assault. You know, it's like we could be hogging at each other in traffic. Who cares, man? Just drive on. But you instead of you just walking away, you threw a punch. And then you were freaking out that you got stabbed. It's like, you kind of started it, bro.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know. What happens if there was a physical thing that stopped and started again?
So,
this is an if.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but like, I don't even understand like how it could have, like, do you think the stabber like punched him and then he was like, oh, why'd you hit me, bro?
All I'm saying is I don't know what happened before the video.
No, for sure. But like in any situation, it's like, how could it have started other than that first punch being thrown? I understand what you're saying. Like, we don't know what happened, but it's like, but we saw the climax of the thing.
We saw this video. Yeah.
But what else? No, but that's what I'm saying. What else could have happened?
No. All I'm saying is that's why.
Climax,
No, all I'm saying is I don't know what happened before. I'm just leaving it to the courts.
Okay. I guess, but there'd be no other like tipping point. Like it becomes a whole different case. We can yell at each other all we want, but it becomes a whole different case as soon as somebody throws a punch. That becomes assault.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Right?
Exactly. We don't know what happened before, right? Was it just a verbal altercation before? Because you're assuming it was only verbal altercation, right?
Yeah, because you saw the video, like they were like talking.
Based on where the video started. Correct.
So you think that? So what you're saying is things could change in a different way if the stabber had assaulted the other guy first?
Sure.
But then, okay, let's say the stabber punched him first and then the other guy was like yelling in his face. There was still a moment of like, we could have stopped this.
Yeah, we don't know the mentality of the tall guy. Right?
Okay.
You got what I'm trying to say? All I'm saying is you're only speaking on based on this video. All I'm saying is
for sure. Okay.
We don't know what happened before. That's what I'm going to say. I'm just leaving it to the courts, right?
But what I'm saying is there's no other crossing of a threshold except for physical altercation. It's just verbal, but as soon as you throw a punch, it becomes assault.
Yes, exactly. You're assuming it's only verbal based on this video.
Okay, but then there's still a lag. It's like, okay, assault happens, there's a lag. Okay, that's one incident. And then now another assault happens. So those are two separate incidents.
I don't know if they would be considered necessarily two, right? Wouldn't it be the same with the same person? It's the same altercation, right? It's a continuation of the altercation.
Right. So, taller dude who started the punch in this video. All right, that's like moment 2, let's say, in your scenario. So there's a time gap between assault number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying, like, let's say they like punched a little bit prior to getting on the train. So they got into a little fight before getting on the train. There was a whole time gap, and then the altercation started again.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying either of those scenarios are true, right? Can be true.
What do you mean?
Either it's only verbal, or it could have been something else. right? I'm saying we don't know which one it is. All I'm saying is based only on this video is this story, but we don't know what was there before. So that's why I'm saying, because both of us are creating, or both, I would say both scenarios are creating a story. All I'm saying is we'll just wait for the courts, right? Because that's where the story will be. Because if both are creating a breaking news story, right? Everybody wants that sensational story. Okay, this is the story. No, this is the actual story. Wait, the courts haven't even happened yet, right? It's the same thing with Kyle Moore, or whatever his name was, Kyle Rittenhouse. It was the same thing. So both sides created like having all these stories, and the court thing happened is like, but both of them now, you know what I'm saying? Like this part of the team already has this view of him, or this side of his team already has this view of him. But the court ended up showing that he was in self-defense.
Self-defense.
That's why it's like
maybe
we'll just leave it. Why don't we just leave it to the courts? Because both will be creating a story, right?
For sure. But what I'm saying, right, all right. Legalities aside, what I'm saying is we're painting a negative picture around this one guy. Whereas
yes,
if we put
I will tell you
shoes,
right. And in that sense, that's what I'm saying. In that sense, I would agree that it shouldn't be really. It shouldn't be focused on either one like that. Then. That's what I'm saying. This negative story on one person or the other person, that's the problem.
Right. Yeah. For sure. And if we put ourselves in that other individual's shoes, we can see that we could be like that person. But like the stabber, because everyone's like negative on the stabber.
Of course. Right? Yeah. But, I know that. Yeah. That's the problem with breaking news, right? Or like these
for sure. Right. Right. Totally. And what I'm saying is like, if you watch the thing, you're like, he has a point, you know? Sure. I don't see a scenario where something could have happened prior that led up to this. Like, I don't know. Cause it's like, to me, it's like, it's just words until you start punching. Right. So if they got into a fight prior to this, it's like, but that didn't continue from when. It makes no sense. Like, I don't see how it could have.
We can't add sense to it because we don't know what was there before, right?
For sure. But what I'm saying is that this negative portrayal of the stabber from that one scene of him running away, like it to me, I was like, oh, that's crazy. It looks crazy.
Yeah.
But then you watch this starting and you're like, actually, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Even if something did happen,
whether
right?
It was like,
right. Even if something did happen with the guy, right? He should. I agree. It's dumb to start an altercation. Just walk away. Yeah. That's the
exactly. That's my point.
Yeah, I understand that. Even like that's what I'm saying. Like even like a lot of the things that Kyle Rittenhouse did is dumb. He should not have been there or done whatever. But like, what you know what I'm trying to say? Like it's just like, okay, let him. This is what happened. He should not have done any of those things. But that why I'm leaving it to the courts to figure that out. But he should not have done. It's like just walk away. Any kind of altercation or something is happening, walk away. It's just,
okay, I see what you're saying. There's a difference between. So I'm in the house of the court of public opinion. So it's like what we would have done versus what legally transpired. You know, like what you're talking about is like who's going to get charged with what. But that's just like we know people who got away with things because the courts were wrong. You know, but I'm saying that if you look at it as putting yourself in that individual's shoes, I can't really fault them. You know, that's where I'm going with this one. Mm-hmm. I don't know who's going to get charged with what. That's up for you. That's the game that we're going to play now.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to pick anyone's side. I don't know any of these people, so.
No, totally. But what I'm saying, like, you're kind of defaming one dude's character. You're making it sound like
no. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
like actually, he seems like a jerk. You know?
Right. Yeah. I think that's the problem with any of these kinds of media or anything like this, where people just leave it at that. Is okay. This is what happened. People are attaching too much. I guess it's like emotional thing to it, or
Yeah.
being more
Because the
involved in
video
it
was
than needs
crazy.
to
Him
be.
running away and like, help,
Sure.
help, help.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, that's gnarly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I am also freaked out over that.
Yeah.
But then you see this part and you're like, nah. That's like, you know what that's like to me? It's like two guys getting into a fight at school and you're like, ah, that's on them, bro.
Yeah.
You know? All right. We spent a lot of time on that
Too
one.
much on this.
Yeah, we gotta end this soon. But okay. So I want to jump to some other stuff really quickly.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off with tech. So I feel like tech now, because I got the 14 Pro Max. Okay, so the Pro Max sizing, definitely not an issue. I actually like it better because when they said this too, if you're somebody who uses your phone a lot for like productivity, it's better because it's like bigger, more room. And I actually feel that like when I'm typing on my old one, the 11 Pro, it was like my thumbs were getting in the way of one another, but now there's enough space that my two thumbs are not like overlapping. But I think there is a point of diminishing returns for technology now because I even text you. I was like, dude, how do I slow down this frame rate? It was like making me nauseous. You know?
Really? Oh.
Yeah, it was weird, and I think that's why they turned it off. Like, do you have it? Do you have that same like level of speed?
Yeah. Yeah. I have it on.
Yeah. Okay. It was like it's too or maybe like okay because you
It's
have
not.
the
It's
12,
no 13 Pro.
13. Okay. Did they make a difference between the 13 Pro and 14 Pro? Did they upgrade that speed or
No, it's the
something?
same. It's the same.
Okay. So for me, it's like it's too clean. You know, like because the refresh rate, like or frames per second, as you're going through it, the detail doesn't diminish as you're swiping.
Yeah.
Right. So my brain is still looking at the thing that I swiped up at. You know, it's my eyes tracking too quickly, and then it has to go back down, up, down, and it was making me like sick. Whereas when you slow it down and you scroll, it can't keep up with the speed that you scrolled at, so it blurs the image. So my brain's like, okay, don't look at this one, look at what's coming. So my eye's not actually moving. You know, it's very subtle, but I was like, why am I getting nauseous over this like feature?
Right. Right.
You know.
It's funny.
And
It's
so
like
okay, so
it's so funny.
yeah.
It's like because it's been there for a while, and everybody's been asking Apple to put it into their phones for a long time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like only on 13 it started, right? So it's like it's funny. It's like you've been more accustomed to the old way, not the new way. It's like
No, but I think it's because why else would they put the feature to slow it down? They probably knew that some people get motion sickness
yeah,
off
probably
of this
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah,
It's sort of like,
most likely.
you know what I mean? Like if you're in a boat, I'm in a boat. How come you're not getting motion sickness, but I am? You know? And it made me think like, is there a point of diminishing returns for technology? Like we want the latest, the fastest, right? Because it's like, oh, this is the new tech, and then I see it, I'm like, oh, it's too much for me. You know? It's like, will we hit that point where, because we always want the crispest definition, we want like more, and then it's like maybe we actually don't want more. Maybe it's good enough, but there's like this whole ideology of every year we have to progress. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the general thinking, and I think that's the general thinking of the populace too, though, right? So, in order to keep up with that demand, you have to keep going, or else, like if Apple doesn't keep evolving, I think that they will just decline as a company.
And that is my point about this thing. It's like, did you kind of like shoot yourself in the foot because you were like, every year we're gonna get better, and then it's like, oh, we're hitting a point where like we're good enough. We actually don't need this high level of, you know, technology. You know, although I think like we should focus on battery life. That would be a good one. But like, I think the detail's already there. You know, the frames per second is already super high. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to bring up was the dynamic island. You could live without that thing. It's not as cool as I thought it would be. Like people were like, dynamic island, whatever, and you're like, it's whatever.
Right.
Like you could see that you're playing other things, or if you have a timer, it's like in the dynamic island. But it's not a make or break for the
yeah, that's why I didn't
phone.
upgrade yet. I didn't think it was.
Yeah, it's like
it's not like
it's really
I'm just waiting till
like,
they get rid of the whole thing, and they don't have.
Yeah, so Is that a thing that's going to happen? Like
Yeah, probably
iPhone 15?
eventually. Yeah. No, I don't know about 15, but I still feel like it's a couple generations away.
Oh, before they fully. I've been hearing like a lot of hype because my sister was like, "Oh, should I upgrade too?" Because there was like that deal, and I was like,
Mhm.
"No, wait for the 15, see what that is, and then if you want to upgrade, you can at a later date." You know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I've been seeing like some stuff about like 15. People are like, "Oh, you should wait. You shouldn't upgrade now."
I don't know. I haven't
So I was
seen
like,
any. There are people that I follow, but I
I
haven't watched
went.
their videos yet. So
I was because I was really invested in getting a new phone. So I was like, okay, let me just watch all these. But they were like, oh, you don't know what's coming. You don't know what's coming. You're like,
okay.
okay. But then it comes out and you're like, this is a letdown
I'm sure it's
again,
not
you
going to
know?
be as different as 14.
Yeah,
It's not.
totally.
It's yeah.
Exactly.
It's not possible.
Yeah. Um, the other thing I wanted to bring up quickly was Apple Care. That thing, people are like, oh, you don't need Apple Care, whatever. And I use that thing a few times now. I'm like, oh, it's so great. But then that I'm a individual case where I kind of like use my technology to like break it, right? But my sister got her her battery replaced. It took like 1 hour. They gave her like a fresh new battery, and it's because her battery went below 80%. So like the batteries die over time, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's where Apple Care comes in. You know,
Mhm.
I just think that Apple Care as a safety feature, like just a peace of mind feature,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
super important.
Yeah. It's not
And
like you had to pay
I
full
love how
upfront now, right? You're paying monthly.
exactly, and that's what I like too. It's actually forever, so you can keep paying that monthly amount until the life of your phone,
Mhm.
which is great because before remember it was like 2 years, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna pay like 100, $200 for 2 year plan,
Right.
and then after 2 years, you're like, oh, what do I do with this phone?
Mhm.
But at least now it's like you can literally keep Apple Care forever. So, big pro on that. The other thing I want to talk about tech wise is Threads. Have you tried it?
No, I did not get it yet.
Okay, so I was going to sign up for it, but
Yeah,
like thankfully I didn't.
you said that it's
Yeah, dude.
connected to Instagram, so you can't delete it or something.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Thankfully, so I was like going to sign up for it, and then I was like, I'm probably not going to use this thing. Like I use Twitter more. All right, fine. I'll just wait till it gets more adopted. And then the next day is when I saw that post, and then I sent it to you
Oh,
where it's
really?
like it's linked to your Instagram. So I was like, oh, I dodged a bullet there. You can't delete your threads unless you delete your Instagram.
And I don't think
That's
it's
annoying.
it's not. Well, I don't know if it's. I didn't check it myself, but I don't think it's out in Europe because there's a lot of
Oh, really? Okay, interesting.
yeah. Um, because there's a lot of things that like why you need to give your health data or this data. Like
Oh, really?
all these are on the list. If you go to the I guess the app store, like all the apps that or all the things it
Yeah.
wants to look at, all the information.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's like I think Europe was like, okay, why do
Okay.
you need to know all of these things or something like that?
Probably to get more like advertising data
Yeah, of course.
so
Yeah,
they could
it's
like
exactly,
advertise to
but
you.
like because they're all connected, right? Facebook, Instagram, and all that.
Yeah,
So
totally, totally.
they're like, I don't know, like that's why I don't think it's out in Europe yet. So.
Hmm. Well, one thing I did find pretty interesting was this post where it's like the fastest technology adoptions, and Threads reached 1 million users in 1.5 hours, which is the fastest technology adoption
Hmm.
of all time so far. So I thought that was kind of cool. And celebrities seem to really like it. They keep posting about it. But I saw that thing with Elon Musk where he's like, competition's good, but copying's not. And it did look basically identical to
Well, I think Facebook is
Twitter.
but Facebook or Meta is
They're notorious for copying, though.
yeah, that's what I heard
You
too,
know?
right? So
Yeah, I saw this comparison. It's like Reels is TikTok,
yeah,
Stories is
I saw the
Snapchat.
same thing. Yeah,
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's true though.
yeah.
They're
So
just doing.
I don't think they're gonna
I
win
mean,
the case. I don't think that's gonna work.
against Elon Musk,
Yeah,
against Twitter.
I mean, yeah, Twitter versus
Yeah,
Threads. I don't think that's gonna work.
oh, you don't think Twitter's gonna win?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think that because you have to. They're saying that they hired people from Twitter. You have. It's very hard to like prove that they stole something from there. Like I don't know, it's gonna be difficult to do so. Or else like
Okay.
other guys would have been trying to do that too, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, fair.
But we'll see.
It's interesting because I was listening to this interview with uh, Mark Zuckerberg and what's his name? The Lex Friedman, and it was like Lex asked him, "I hear there's a Twitter app that's coming out soon. Can you give us any information about it?" And then Mark Zuckerberg like dodged the question. He's like, "Yeah, we have a lot of teams working on a lot of things. I don't really know the specifics, blah blah." And then like 2 weeks later, this app got launched, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of funny. Like people knew that this was going to happen. This like all text based thing."
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of it if you have one organization, because then it's like you have all, it's like Apple, you have all the connectivity, they integrate well with one another. Like that's good. But I was never a fan of Twitter already. So
true. Yeah. There was already things, what I saw. Because there's a satirical, I think it's called Bumblebee or Babylon Bee, I think. Like a satirical site. Yeah. And I think they posted something on Threads and it was like, oh, it's blocked content. Or like you're not getting, it's not like free like Twitter. You know what I mean? Like free speech like Twitter, right? So that's another thing you have to think about.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I don't see it beating Twitter. Yeah. I mean,
and it's still
it's
still very early in its stages. It still doesn't have like all the things that Twitter yet has.
Yeah.
It's just threads for now. There's no DMs, no hashtags, none of those other things yet. So I believe.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'll wait to see how the dust settles on that one. And is there even a use case?
I mean, like both will probably be here, right? Snapchat is still here. TikTok is still here.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Did you see that new thing where it got passed? Social media accounts can't share news anymore.
In Canada, we're talking about.
Yeah. So what's going to happen with like because you rely on Twitter for. I mean, also me. I rely on social media for my news. So it's like, what's going to happen with that? You know.
I don't know exactly what that means. So we'll have to see.
Okay. Because like even the news accounts were saying we can't, like the ones I follow, they're like, we can't share information anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was. I'm not sure. I think it's like legacy media can. I don't think.
What's legacy media?
The traditional media.
Oh, okay.
Like old media.
Okay, interesting.
Right. I think CP24 can still post, but not like.
No, they posted that. They posted that thing. That's where I saw it. I was like, oh, weird. How am I getting my news?
They posted. They posted what exactly? I didn't see that.
It's like a slide. It was like a slide that says like, due to this ruling, we have to figure out how we're going to use this platform or something like that.
Okay.
I'm like paraphrasing it, but it was like one Instagram image and it said like basically that. It's like with this new ruling in Canada, we need to figure out what we're doing with this account, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay. If you take this away, that'll be interesting because I just won't get news then. You know?
Yeah.
Or I'll get like 6 Buzz News. Yeah, something like that.
But I don't think they can do that though. I don't think they can do that.
What, 6 Buzz?
Yeah, like it would be like.
But it's not news. It's not news. It's like it is news, but it's not like news. I think it's like a gray area, like a loophole, because they're not a news account. They're just like a social media share.
Yeah, but you can't post about news without
weird.
Without like crediting the source or something like that. I don't like, or the original media that had it. I'm not too sure what exactly it is. There's probably they gotta figure that out. I don't know.
We'll wait to see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see.
Or maybe it's just it's like overhyped and nothing changes. We're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because I haven't read what those things are, so we'll see.
It just came up like because I'm a marketer, and it came up and like people were freaking out. I'm like, I don't know. You guys, we'll just wait till the dust settles. Okay, 2 last things really quickly. Joyride. I saw that in theaters. Did you see it? No, you
No,
didn't
no, I
see
haven't
it.
seen it.
So it's so interesting. So it's super like racially driven, and it it got a 6.2 or something on
Okay.
IMDb, but Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 98%. We watched the movie, hilarious. It's kind of like Hangover.
Okay.
It's like that raunchy. I was like, oh wow, Asians are doing this. All right, this is crazy now. Like it's like super raunchy, but like Asian jokes. Okay, I'm just gonna give you the spoiler here. If you listen to this, sucks to be you. Spoiler alert. Okay, so basically, you know how Asians, we all kind of look the same. Not me, but like Chinese, Asians,
Sure.
Taiwanese. Like no, but it's true. It's like they brought that up in the movie.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it's like racist, but it's like question mark racist. You know what I mean? Like, is it racist? Because it's true. So, anyways, so she grew up in America, and then she's landed in Beijing looking for her mom, and she's going through the airport, and she's like, oh, they're explaining different versions of Asians. So like, oh, this is a Taiwanese. These are their characteristics. So that's because she's never seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
There's Koreans, like blah blah blah. So it turns out that she thought she was Chinese the whole time. Turns out she was Korean, and that's the
Okay.
big twist in the movie.
Oh, okay.
And like, but you're like, it's like racist question mark. Like I don't know, but it's true. And then they had this one scene where when she found out she was Korean, all the Chinese people were like, "That's why her face is round," and like, "Oh, at least she's not Japanese." And then this one girl was like, "Stop being racist." But it's like we don't think that Asian people are racist to their own kind because, like, like diversity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're thinking,
yeah.
right? You're like, "Oh, you're BIPOC. You shouldn't be racist." It's like, what are you talking about, bro? Every culture is racist.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just white people.
Yeah.
And that's why I like the movie because they like brought up that kind of stuff.
True.
And like she grew up in America, she went to China, and she saw like they're looking for this cabin, and they kept like the one girl from America, she kept like not wanting to sit with Chinese people, and then she saw like one white person, and she sat with that white person. Turned out that white person was a drug dealer, and it's like it's playing on these like ideologies of our preconceived notions of like our stereotypes essentially.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen a movie do that yet where it's like
In today's time,
and they even you know what I mean, because of all this diversity thing, but it's like from this perspective it's like a BIPOC person's telling you that, hey, we're racist. I did that in my freaking my chat thing. Don't want to say it's a W chat, but you know what I mean, because like they were like, oh, racism, and I was like, guys, Asian people are racist too. It's not just white people.
Yeah.
She cut some slack, Yeah, and even in the movie, they're like, her boss is like, I'm an ally, and we laughed so hard because it's like, that's a thing now,
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, and then the last thing. So I thought it was a good movie, great diversity, anti-divert. Well, it is divert. So that's ironic. It's like, how do you say it's a diverse movie when they're being racist in it? Racist question mark in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I feel like we're a little confused with our ideology right now.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, so last thing is I saw Everything Everywhere at Once. I don't know why you guys love that movie. we're like, what is going on? We didn't even finish it. I was like, I can't keep watching. No, we did finish it. Yes, it was an abrupt ending.
Okay.
We did finish it.
It was a while back that I watched this. Okay.
Yeah, but you, one of my other friends, Sunshine, you guys all love that movie. I watched that movie and I was like, what are we doing with this movie? It made no sense. It was like, and then it got me asking, is this, all right, I really have to end this, but final thought related to Joyride. Did this thing win because of its diversity? Because it wasn't a good movie. Like, if you had put like white people in this and then you just played that movie, you'd be like, why is this so random? Because it was a random movie.
I think.
Do you remember what happened?
Vaguely.
But then it won all those awards, and you're like, is it because it's an Asian movie? Is that why it won all those awards?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think it's an art movie.
Because if you actually look, I wouldn't even consider it an art movie, bro. It's like, so they had to jump to different realities by doing weird things. So there was like a peg, and the guy had to jump and shoved the peg into his butt. How is that artsy? That's like you're trying to be extra. Like, no, you know what I mean? It's like, it's really.
I don't remember that scene.
not
I don't remember what that
artsy.
was. Yeah.
That was a big, and then like they were fighting, and then one dude had like something sticking out of his butt because that's the only way he could jump. They had to do weird things in order to jump
Okay.
to like different realities, and then like everything was just, like the ultimate way to see all realities, looking at an everything bagel, because she put everything on a bagel. I'm like, this is a little too literal here. You know, it almost seemed like Scott Pilgrim takes on the world, but that movie
it kind of had that vibe,
win a
right?
bunch of awards.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? But it didn't win all those awards. So my question is, did this thing win because it's an Asian movie?
There was Asian tropes in it, right? Like Asian elements. It's not just
Like barely. It actually didn't even touch on Asian stuff. It was just being ridiculous over and over and over. Like she couldn't understand English, so her taxes were incorrect, and it turned out the tax person in a different reality is a demon, so she had to kill the demon.
Sure. Okay.
Like, what are we doing here, bro? You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah, I enjoyed the journey. That's kind of why I liked it. So.
Oh no, I just like.
It was
And
like
then
it was like a roller coaster ride for me, so that's why I liked that. From what I
But why?
remember.
No, okay, sure. But why did it win all those awards? That was my question. And like, she's like, in one reality, she's learning martial arts, and then her teacher was like, even your pinky can become the ultimate weapon. And then she started flicking people with her pinky, and then they'd fly around the room. So I'm like literally, my honest question is, did this movie win only because it was the only Asian movie out at the time, and they wanted to give Asian people a pedestal to rise up against like anti-diversity?
Well,
Because why
wouldn't
did it win?
that be for like the? Didn't that happen already like the previous year? Like I don't know. Like there's
Parasite winning, but maybe that's the thing. Maybe there's like, we're on a roll, or like, hey, there's not enough Asian representation. Let's throw this one in there. It's the only one that came out.
we don't know what they're thinking, right? It's they vote on these.
No,
things,
but
right? Yeah.
for sure. But I'm saying like, where did the voting come from? Because this movie was arguably a bad movie. Like, it was, the story made no sense. The scenes were so ridiculous. The graphics were terrible. Like, actually go watch this movie again.
Yeah, it's not a big
why
budget
am I watching
movie.
this movie?
Yeah.
So why did it win all those awards? Like, legitimately, why did it? It's almost like UFC scoring when like somebody loses. So like, you're like, oh, the other guy should have won. You're like, so why did you score it in the favor of the guy that obviously lost? That's where I'm coming from. It's like, why did it win so many awards if it was arguably a terrible movie?
Yeah, these
Question
movies. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's up to you. Yeah.
No, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's a little suspicious here. It's sort of like when you're like quotas, you know? You're like, why'd you get the job? You don't
Sure.
seem to have the skills that work. You know what I mean? It's literally the exact same thing.
Right.
I feel like it's permeating our culture. Anyways, we are over time. I have to bounce. Any last things that you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay, I challenge you to watch Everything Everywhere at Once one more time and just be like, yeah, this is a great movie. Like, because I remember you and Sunshine loved it. And I was like, what did you like about it? I was like, so confused. Yeah. That's weird. Anyways, all right, take it easy, Vish. Till next time.
Peace.
All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.